Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So continuing on with my 31 days of Halloween, I decided to do this very iconic horror movie slasher, Leatherface. So jumping right in, I'm going to be using scar wax for this. Now if you've never used scar wax before, you do need to coat your fingers in either Vaseline. I'm using a very oily makeup remover and I'm just putting that on my fingers, rolling it out into like a long worm, pressing that onto my face and then pressing down the very edges of that. Now to make this look like it's stitches, I'm also going through and using a sculpting tool and I'm just going to be making a slit right down the very center of that. Now I also wanted another stitch mark on my forehead. I wanted this one to be a little bit more clean than the one on my cheek. So again, I'm just rolling out that long strip and then pressing it into my forehead and then smoothing out the edges. Now I was doing some water marbling right before I made this video and realized afterwards that it did stain my fingers. So my fingers do look very dirty in this video, but it's just water marble stain. So yeah, I'm just putting this onto my forehead the same way I did my cheek and then using that sculpting tool to create the slit right down the middle. Before I add the latex to anywhere on my body, I'm just going to be putting some Vaseline along my hairline and in my brows. And then using this streamer paper, I'm just going to be ripping some jagged edges off, and that's going to be the skin type material. I like this a little bit better than toilet paper or paper towel, especially when I'm making the skin, because it does smooth out wherever you put it, but it's thicker, so it makes that kind of like dried skin look, at least in my opinion. I'm laying down the latex onto my forehead, applying the streamer paper, and then coating that again with latex, and then laying another layer of the streamer paper on top of it just to make it a little more thick. Then just covering it with latex again, and then using latex and going up on that very top part of those edges, so that the whole thing is coated with the latex and it makes it a little thicker once it's dried. I didn't want this in my hair, so again I'm using that sculpting tool, just holding it off my head and just dragging my finger all the way up. And then to seal my scar wax, you can use a scar wax sealer, or you can just use liquid latex. In this case, I'm just patting liquid latex along it and then getting some onto my finger, dripping it into that very center and letting it run through the entire groove. And then because I wanted my upper lip to be raised a little, I'm just taking some duct tape and I'm just putting that onto the edge of my lip, pulling it up and then covering that in latex as well. For the bottom of the mask, I wanted this also to be hanging like the top so that it looked like the mask was off my face. So I'm just doing these same steps that I used for the very top of my forehead. I'm laying down the latex, streamer paper, latex. Now I did decide that I wanted a little piece on the side of my face afterwards. So again, I'm laying some latex onto my cheek, kind of layering that up. And then for the chin part, I'm just pulling up the very bottom, pulling it out so it looks like the mask is hanging off of my chin, and then cutting it so it looks jagged. And then going in with some baby powder, I'm just going to be putting that all over all of this latex basically so it doesn't stick to itself. And then using scissors, I'm just going to cut the opening in that stitch mark on my cheek. Next, I'm going in with an eyeshadow pencil and I'm just going to be mapping out the edges of my mask. So I'm first putting in the eye holes, putting in the mouth holes, and then sketching out where I want the actual stitches. And then going in with the Pretty Vulgar bronzer, I'm just going to take this onto a fluffy brush and kind of shade around the entire crease of my eye and around the very edge of the eye holes of the mask. And then going in with my Mehron palette, I'm using this light yellow shade, and I'm just going to be putting this in one section of the mask on my face. It's probably easier just to watch this than it is to explain, but basically I'm going to be going in with different colors, a lot of like yellows, fleshy, rotten flesh yellows and greens, and then a brown and tan color, and I'm just filling in each one of those sections so it looks like patches of different colored skin. So I'm also going to go in with this light green shade and fill in that section, and then for one of the larger areas on my face, I'm going in with this light brown shade from the Mehron palette and filling in that entire patch of my face. And then for this last patch, I just mixed the brown, yellow, and greens together to make this like rotteny flesh colored. And then to lighten up some of that tan flesh, I'm just going in with that same light yellow that I used to begin with, and I'm just creating some highlighted areas on the mask. And then outlining everything with a dark brown body paint. So I'm going around the mask and inside the stitches. And then using this Morphe palette, I'm going in with this matte shade right here, and I'm just going to use that and kind of shade around the stitches, leaving a little area that's closest to the stitch to be the highlight. And then I'm doing the same thing to all of the other patches with different shades of browns and blacks. And then I'm just going to create the shadow for the stitches that I'm going to be adding afterwards. So taking some black eyeshadow onto a flat brush and just mapping out where I want those stitches. And then I'm using cut up strips of this fabric that I had left over. So I'm just applying some latex dots where I want them to stick and then applying those. And to darken up the outside of the mask, I'm going in with some black body paint. I'm also going to be using some dark brown and some black eyeshadow to deepen up some spots. And that's it for Leatherface. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know in the comments below. Make sure you turn on those bell notifications so that you get notified every other time I upload a new video. I am uploading a new video for every day of the entire month of October, so make sure that's turned on so that you get notified. See you next time. Bye.